Dan, I am so excited for the tables to be turned. Or to get the dirty on pigs.
Hot seat.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm in the hot seat.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do basically the same thing as we do for all of our other podcasts where you interview the CEOs.
Sure.
It's time for me to interview the CEO.
Let's go.
Right? Founder of Pig. I'm going to start with some questions about the origin story.
Yep.
First of all, why the name Powerhouse? Can we talk about that? What does Powerhouse represent to you personally and professionally, and why did we bring this in?
So I've been in the mortgage business for 25 years, and my mentor and still one of my best friends, I was best man at his wedding, his name is Ron. We were starting a mortgage recruiting team to do what we do now, which is, grow companies or grow our company by attracting people. And he had said, I need a powerhouse team. And this was 2000.
Yeah.
And I was the leader of the team. So I was Mr. Powerhouse, the powerhouse guy.
Right.
We called it Team Powerhouse. Like even though I was within the company, my emails were Powerhouse. As we started progressing, people just started calling me, hey, call Powerhouse, call Powerhouse, call Powerhouse. Then, of course, I got into it myself. I got a tattoo of Powerhouse on my back, Powerhouse my boat. And then in the jiu-jitsu world, people just know me as Powerhouse. And so when I started the investment firm, I knew I wanted to do an investment firm. And, of course, there's the I.
Yeah.
So you got the I.
Yeah.
So it's like investment group, whatever. And then I don't know if it was my wife or just us talking, but it was like Powerhouse investment and like, well, Pig. So then we just had to figure out, a logo.
So what was the moment, or was there a specific moment that made you realize I have to build this? I need to build this. You just felt called, something happened. What was the moment? I got to build this.
So this was originally started to solely fund our second restaurant at OC Local with Patrick. And that's all that this was about. And we raised more than we wanted. He wanted $100,000. He got close to $1 million. And part of that million was a good friend of mine and a partner in the mortgage space, Ross, had introduced me to his solar company. Mm-hmm. And while that was happening, one of my good friends, Carlos, introduced me to you.
That's right.
So this went from, wait a minute, just a restaurant to now another sector, renewable energy, and then spirits, liquor. And that's when I thought, nothing I've ever done, I put my toe in the shallow end.
Yeah.
I dive deep.
Not a powerhouse thing.
That's not a powerhouse thing. So I'm like, hey, if this is one and done, let's get it out of the way. And then, of course, now it's into 8+ companies. That's I knew I had to make something out of this.
Yeah. It was a little organic too, though, right? Like, obviously, your experience with the SEC, once they kind of said, hey, man, you can't just start an LLC, get a bunch of people together. It's not how it works.
I envisioned this. This was friends and family. Yeah. This was my brother.
Yeah.
Very close friends. And we trust each other. Yeah. We're a little old school, right? It was like napkin deal.
Yeah, of
like,
course.
hey, you give me $50,000, I'll give you a percentage of the company, whatever. Then all of a sudden we started a bank account with Chase, and Chase asked what we're doing. We said we're raising money, and that caused a red flag for them.
Yep.
And then I get a call from literally the Securities Exchange Commission.
Yeah.
They called me and like, did you start a firm? Yeah. What's your license? What do you mean license? What are you talking about? I got 10 friends. We're all giving $50,000. We're giving the guy $500,000.
Right.
They're like, yeah, that's how people go to jail. I'm like, okay.
I can actually, that could have been way worse. They could have totally been bad. They could have just said, hey, securities fraud. No, doesn't happen like that. And just put an end to it right there.
Well, yes. To commit fraud, you have to have a victim. And because we were small enough, none of my guys would have, they would have been like, we gave the guy $50,000, big deal.
We were just,
But it still would have been a violation.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been handcuffs.
Yeah.
But that's when I realized I need a securities attorney, not just a regular attorney.
Yeah.
And then I have an attorney, you have your CPA, they all have to talk to one another. And then you realize, okay, what started as, hey, let's raise money for my buddy Patrick at OC Local, turned into we actually have a company. And now I've got to start delegating some of my time as a full-time mortgage guy that can't, and it still hasn't taken a minute away from my mortgage side. I've just taken more away from my personal side and my family side to build this. But yeah, it was an eye-opening experience when I realized, like, I just thought I was just getting everybody's team. It's like fantasy football.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone put in $50.
Yeah.
And then, at the end of the day, the winner gets the pot.
Right.
That's kind of how I thought this was.
Right. So what started as a fun deal, we're just doing a deal for this restaurant, just a couple buddies helping out a buddy, turned into a need. Yep. Hey, we have to do this. Turned into an opportunity.
Sure.
Where we met.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we went from raising a couple $100,000 to now 7 figures, raising millions.
Sure.
And then at what point did it turn, or when did you turn into, oh, I'm actually really passionate about this. Like I love this. I'm good at this. You're good at this.
Yeah.
Right. You're a great champion of. I mean, I'll give you my testimony. You're a phenomenal champion of these brands, these companies. Right. You don't invest in anything that you don't know, like, trust, and love.
Okay.
You love the people, love the product, love the plan. Right. And you're deeply passionate about that, and you're extremely incredible at promoting the things that you love. So when in that sort of timeline did you go, I'm good at this, and I need to build this?
When we started going beyond my friends and family and to his friends and family and her friends and family, I felt and I don't want to say the word responsibility, because in all fairness, I don't run your company.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if you burn it to the ground, that's not on me. And if you take it to become $1 trillion company, that's not on me either.
Right.
I can't take the credit or the blame for it.
Right.
I can de-risk all of us by helping fund your company so you can do what you do. But when, my buddies, and I'm just going to shout out here, my brother David, my buddy Spencer, the original guys, Mark, who gave 50, 60 grand. It's a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not. It's a lot of money. But when Mark introduced me to his neighbor, who I've never met, and he puts 50, and then when one of my coworkers, Ross, puts in at this point, 500, 600, 700 grand.
$1 million.
Then I'm like, wait a minute, like, this is real. Like, I have to take this. Not that I didn't take it seriously, but I took it as what it was, small. Yeah. Then when I realized it was big, then I started thinking, well, I have to start creating other opportunities, other companies.
Yes.
Webs. I mean, we didn't have a website.
You had to put a strategy to it.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I spent hours and hours and hours trying to figure out how to keep something small, family-oriented group culture. And it still is, and I want it to always be if we have 1,000 investors. But we have 116 investors, and there are now friends and friends and friends and friends. Yeah. I mean, I got a text for vodka, actually. The last investor you had at the current raise, or the previous raise, he is a friend of Ross's. And he sent me a text and said, hey, you don't know me. My name is blank. I've got $50,000. Where do I send it? And I'm like, oh, let me call you. And I'm like, before you give me money, let me talk to you. And he's like, no. Ross, he says he trusts you. I'm like, I get it, but like, I feel weird.
Yeah.
I'm just going to send you a contract. So we talked for like an hour. And he's an awesome dude.
I love that.
He's coming to our investment party.
Awesome.
We've never met. I don't even know what he looks like.
That's cool.
But I have an obligation and a responsibility, fiduciary or not, to, if someone's going to refer me to somebody,
it's personal at this point.
It's personal.
Yeah.
And now I'm friends. I mean, there's so many. I mean, we're doing this the Pig 2-year anniversary event, and one of our top 3 pig investors, and when I say top 3 out of almost $7.5 million raised, one of our top 3 investors, I've never met her.
Wow.
And she's top 3.
Wow.
And we've spoken on the phone a million times. I can't wait to finally meet her. And we missed each other at this place and that place. But to think that out of all the investors, 116 we have, one of our top 3 I've never met, and she's a referral of now one of our board members who started as an investor. Right. And it's just crazy how this has spiraled, and I say that in a good way.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What turned into then an opportunity? Now you got to go, okay, now I got to have strategy. I got to have compliance. I got to have governance. I got to have a team. I got to have a vision.
Yep.
So that's what I want to know. What does the next 5 years look like for Pig? And 5 years from now, where are we going? What does the next 5 years look like?
So in the last 2 or 3 months, we brought on a CFO, a very good friend of mine, who is currently a CFO for a very large mortgage retail lender. I've known him 25 years. He's overseen $3 to $5 billion a year in business. He literally is the financial officer for that.
I love that.
And I needed something to help me with our internal finances. Again, 117 investors as of when we record this, for about $7.5 million. I believe genuinely that post Pig event we're going to be about 10 mil, and we might end the year 12 mil. Wow. That's 12 million in investments in 24 months. It's crazy. He will be a resource to not only me, but also to you and your companies as well, and all the CEOs' companies. And we just now added an 8th company that we're raising money for. And I want to be very selective as to who fits in our mold and whatnot. So our vision, I don't have a 5-year plan. I have a 1 to 3 year plan.
Yeah.
I think we'll be with 12 to 15 companies. I genuinely think we're going to get in that $20 million range pretty soon. We're going to get big enough to where now I have to spend more money with attorneys to now reclassify us.
Yep.
We can soon become a crowd fund.
Yep.
We can create an app. We're already creating an internal CRM, which is going to be amazing. We'll release it at the Pig event, and that is a big part of our board member James Bartlett's vision with me is to create something someone can see all their investments, what their value was, what it's worth. I mean, it's you're going to love it as a CEO. But we are now doing things that I think some of the big companies, we want to do what all the big companies are doing while still staying small.
Yeah, I love that. So let me ask you that. What if you could describe what makes Pig special, right? What sets Pig apart from other investment groups, private equity groups, or opportunities, your primary differentiator?
So I would say it's kind of similar to your vodka company. It's similar to my good friend Jeff's real estate company. Many of the bigs are too big to care.
Okay.
And we're not. And we will never be too big to care. We can have 1,000 investors, and I will have a personal relationship with all of them. As long as you're accredited, which is the legal
100%.
the rule for us to be able to accept money, and there's accredited rules that I don't create, but as long as you're accredited, we'll take your money.
Yeah.
And I say that in a way that like for example,
Yeah.
your vodka company will not take an investor less than $100,000.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
I don't think any of our companies that we raise money for, at least with equity, can take less than $100,000. We can.
Right.
I could take 20 investors that have $10,000, which you would love because that's $200,000 to you. I could do that. Some of these big companies say are competitors, which I don't even think we have competitors because we're so small. I don't want to have competitors. Like none of them look at me like we're serious because they're like, oh, it's a small little investment firm. Cool. Yeah. I like that. Let me be small. Let me operate in my small space.
Yeah.
But we just talked about with the board the other day, what should be a minimum investment? And they were like one of my board members, Jeremy, he's like, Dan, why do you need a minimum?
Right.
And I'm like, well, because I actually have to pay a state fee.
Right.
So if you invested $5,000 and the state you're in, let's call it Maryland, gives me a $7,500 licensing to turn on the state, I would lose money for you to make money. So he's like, well, it doesn't necessarily need to be a minimum as long as you're accredited, which is compliance, and as long as the company doesn't lose money, then you don't need a minimum. And that's the primary difference. Is there's a lot of people. I mean, Mark, our board member, he's got his 2 sons who are investors. My daughters are investors through my name because I'm the accredited one. But we're giving opportunities that call Charles Schwab or call any one of these bigs and say, hey, I want to invest.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, we can't. Your money's not good here.
Yeah,
you're not big enough. And that to me is where we're different.
Yeah,
we are small. But I also think you mentioned another thing is investment dollars. Like if you invest in, what's hot these days, say Amazon or any one of Elon's companies, you'll never get access to them. I allow our investors to have access to you.
Right.
They have access to any one of our CEOs. They get, I'll never say the word insider information, but whatever you tell me that I'm allowed to say, I share emails with weekly. The CRM is going to have weekly updates. I have conference calls. I'm doing this podcast. So I give updates that like they don't care. Go invest in Nike. Phil Knight will never know who you are. You can invest $10 million in Nike tomorrow and they will never know who you are.
Yeah.
You invest $15,000 in our company, which is really not with us because we don't hold the money. We go right to you.
Right.
And I care.
Right.
And you care. And you send them an intro and then you send them a bottle of vodka, whatever it is, So I like that. We're different because we're small enough and we will always be small enough to care. Yeah. Always, no matter what.
I love that. And I think that you guys provide incredible access to higher risk investment opportunities that you would never have at a lower price.
And that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I mean, we've been asked raise either the fees or raise the minimums because you're letting people get into something they otherwise wouldn't know.
Exactly.
It's
an access.
Our coffee company is awesome. The liver company is going to change the world.
Yes.
Right. You can't get into 1, now 2, 3, 4, 5 real estate brokerages like we can get you in. You could never do that on your own. Go find that right now.
Yeah.
Have Joe Blow knock on Keller Williams and say, can I invest?
Yeah.
They'll be like, dude, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
And now here you can get into 5 real estate brokerages with us.
Yeah.
Right. At again, no minimum.
Yep.
So long as you're accredited. So I do think we provide opportunities that others don't. And that's simply because we were afforded the opportunities, that others didn't. And that includes me. I'm an investor in everything we do. So like if we lose, which we haven't, then I lose. And I'll probably lose more.
Right.
And if we win, that's great. We all win. And I'll probably win more.
I love that. So let me ask you this. This is a question you probably don't get asked. And, the investors or Pig family and friends don't hear often.
Yep.
What is the biggest challenge that you have faced in your time building Pig, and what did you learn from that challenge?
My biggest challenge is what I don't know. There's no book.
Yeah.
And I learned this on the fly as an investor trying to help a guy.
Yeah.
The restaurant, my buddy Patrick.
Right.
I didn't know about compliance. I didn't know about accredited.
Right.
I didn't know about SEC. I didn't know about contracts, and I didn't know the cost. We're now approaching our second year, and we're just as PIG as an entity. We're just at the point where, depending on this battle I'm having with the IRS,
Right.
as to what we classify as income or not,
Right.
we're just at the point where we're breaking even. I never did this to make money.
Right.
I certainly didn't do this to lose money.
Yeah,
At this time last year, I was $150,000 in. I'm letting people get into companies like yours that can one day make them multimillionaires at my expense.
Right.
And to me, that means it's Jessica's money, it's Serenity's money, it's Stella's money, it's my family money.
Yeah.
And I was really struggling with that because I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
Now I have, and again, it's expensive. I mean, talk to my securities attorney, it's $1,200 for an hour. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Then my CPA needs something, and he charges me, and he wants to talk to the CPA. So these two guys are talking for like 2 or 3 hours. I'm not even on the call, and I get a bill for $10,000.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks too. So what I didn't know and what I have not been an expert at, I'm quickly becoming a student because I want to be the expert to avoid that. But I mean, we're getting to the point where we're finally close to where I want to be.
I love that. Well, let me give you one more question because I want it to be impactful for all of the people whom are part of the PIG community already listening and watching. This question is really for them because they're going to send this to somebody, right? So I want everybody who's watching this to take this little section and send it to a friend. Who is the perfect PIG partner? What person is
company or investor?
Yeah, investor. What is the perfect type of person that just will absolutely thrive in this type of environment and community from an investor standpoint?
So far, because I've not had any issues, complaints. I mean, we're 100. I keep saying 116, 117 because we just brought in 2 new ones recently. So far, we've not had a complaint. There hasn't been someone says, "Where's my money? You guys haven't done this quick enough." And every company like yours, every company has their challenges.
Of course.
And no one has held me responsible for those challenges. So that part is cool. I would say we have currently the perfect investor, but that perfect investor is one that is following what the plan is.
Yeah.
Your company had a 3, 5, 7-year exit strategy to be able to sell at a very good number.
Right.
So I don't want a year and a half for someone to ask me, like, what's Dakota doing? It's like, hold on, you signed up for this plan.
Right.
If you're in the plan that is a 1-year plan, it's very within your right to ask me at month 7 where we at, and that's fine. So I want someone who just believes in me because they know me, or believes in the referral partner who introduced them to me. Because again, we're so small that there's only a couple layers separated from the investor to me.
Yeah.
And that to me is this isn't gambling.
Yeah.
Don't put 20 grand and a month from now, like, dude, it's got to be 200.
Yeah,
It can't be that way.
Yeah.
Trust the process, trust where we're at. And I will tell you that what I didn't expect to happen has happened, which is we have several multi-PIG investors. I mean, I think we're now at like 40 or 45 have been in 5. And that's even with an asterisk because many of them, they were closed. You couldn't get in.
Right.
So I wonder if it was open if you could have gotten in.
Right.
You couldn't get an OC Local. It's full.
Right.
You couldn't get to our real estate company one because that was full.
Right.
And there's a line out the door waiting for that one too.
Right.
So we can't get in a vodka right now because you're on hold.
Right.
So the fact that we have several, 30 plus 4 or 5X, we're at 70 or 75, which is like 65% of our investment group is in more than one.
Wow.
That means you trusted me the first time, you trusted me the second time, but it really isn't about me. You trusted your referral partner and you trusted you. So my job, the toughest job I have is I have to give them the best opportunity with the companies. Mm-hmm. So you can go do your job.
Right.
And it's not easy. I mean, we're getting pitched 3 at this point now. We've gotten big enough to we've gotten 3 to 4 pitches a week.
Wow.
I take the first pitch because I don't want to waste my board's time. Mm-hmm. And then I will end up giving the board about 2 pitches a month. And here we are, 2025, and we just brought in our first company since last June. Wow. Actually, that's not true. We brought in 2 private ones that were private because they were through referrals that we knew. But the first all PIG for all investors, we just brought in last week. So our group is doing a very thoroughly vetted process to bring in the right company.
No, I think that's a great answer because any investor, whether they're current PIG investors or potentially new PIG investors, they want to know what's your process. Because, for me, right, when you said, hey, I got Jeff, and I was like, okay, done, got it.
Yeah,
I don't even meet Jeff. I didn't talk to Jeff.
You're a great example. You're Not counting your own, not counting your own investment.
Yeah, 3x.
I think you're a 3x pig.
Yeah.
Right. And you've come to not only our pig event, but you've come to the events of the
exactly
like the real estate event.
100%.
So so you're a live example
exactly.
of what we're doing. So yeah, you would be our perfect investment partner. And then I think you've met a ton, maybe not all 94 Golden Eagle vodka investors, but you've met a lot of them.
Yes.
They're all good people. They all trust you. They're like, hey, we trust what you're doing. Keep doing well, and we'll throw in more money so we can all take care of ourselves.
So any individual who is an accredited investor who is looking for opportunities with extremely high potential, small to mid-size, could be startups or progressing organizations, what they wouldn't otherwise have access based on minimums, that's the perfect investor. People, I'm vested in mutual funds, I'm vested in real estate, but I don't have any risk in my mix. You need a little mix.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think you should have 10%, depending on your age, 10% of your mix.
Yeah.
Get some risk in there.
100%.
So if anybody's out there and they're like, man, that's me. What do the people listening at home need to do to get in contact with you? Maybe there's no open raises. That's how most people find out about Pig is there's an open raise. They get a deck and they're like, oh my gosh, look at this. Where do they go to find out more about the organization? Even if there's not an open raise they're interested in right now, do they call you? Do they go to the website? Or how do people get more information?
So as of today, and we're in the early part of June, we have several open raises. We have what I call mid raises, which is you. You are closed at this value, opening at this one.
Right.
I think our real estate one is a mid raise. We're closed on this one brokerage. We're going to open another one. And then there's some we're just closed.
Yeah.
That were like the restaurant. That's it. We're done. So we have, I think, 4 or 5 open raises. PowerhouseInvestingGroup.com lists out where we're at. We're about to roll out the CRM, which is in August that we'll have. It's a fine line between over-communicating and under-communicating. Yeah. I send emails every Friday to the investment group, and half the group doesn't respond, which is fine. And then I get a ton of responses like, we need more. We want more access. We want to see what's going on. So it's a battle I'm having from within is figure out, do I communicate more or do I stay the same or do I do less? But my goal is always to have at least an option. Optionality is huge. Yeah. There is someone who is sober that, for whatever reason, vodka is not their thing.
Right.
And it's nothing personal against Dakota. Like, I don't drink.
Yeah.
No problem. I have coffee.
Yeah.
Someone's like, I've never drank coffee in my life. I can't invest in that. No problem. How about renewable energy?
Yeah.
How about housing? How about liver care? So we have stuff for, I think, everyone. And then that's where I'm trying to give people diversity so they can choose.
Yeah. I love that. Well, I got no more questions. I think we covered a lot of amazing stuff. So
Appreciate
until
you.
next time, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Cheers.